Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, legionnaires of all ages, welcome to, in our opinion, episode something. It's been a while. Mainly my fault. Sorry to all of our 5 viewers that love to watch us on this show. We are not alone. He made it. He makes it at the moment.
Oh, look at that. Better late than never. You're right, Sandy?
Yeah, I am.
Just in
Apologies,
time.
guys. I'm being up the fucking wall, as you probably
It's
already
all
know. Oops, sorry, already live. Sorry, swearing.
We've been
It's
going
all right.
20 seconds, mate. It's fine.
It's
We've
all
just
right.
started.
Yeah,
I'm
live.
Nick the
I am
Geek,
live to you
and I'm
from
joined by 2 brilliant brains, 2 fantastic friends, and 2 marvelous minds. I'm joined by the Redeemer himself, Andy, flying in from out of parts unknown. How are we, sir?
I am live from Papa Bear's living room. So, yeah.
And we are joined by the Nature Boy, the blondest in all of professional wrestling. We are joined by Simon. Simon, how the hell are you doing?
Really good, mate. Yeah, it's good to get the band back together.
It always is. And of course, we are only together for another 4 or 5 days because one of us is very lucky and is off to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I am thoroughly jealous, but thoroughly happy for him because he's going out there with his better half, shall we say?
Well, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right. Okay, lads. Impromptu one. This was Simon's idea. And I had like 20 minutes to come up with a topic. So, Wrestlemania, match card, and the build. I've got the match card in front of me. I'm going to go through the matches in no particular order. And you guys are going to give me your opinion on the build to each match, how, where, what night you think the match should be on, and whether it's any good. Okay?
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Right. So, get off. Why is this on camera? Get off me. Stupid phone. Okay, first on the list, we have one of the few singles matches at this year's WrestleMania. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Andy, you grunted first. Off you go.
It's going to be a great match. I think Logan's good at his high spots and he practices them well. I think when you've got somebody like AJ who's a really good ring general, pretty much to say, he's going to lead them through really well. Going to be a good match. Build again, I think Logan Paul, it's never really a great build to his matches, is that it's just kind of it feels like he's the celebrity match every time without being a celebrity, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know, like if he turns in the build, it's like, I'll fight you, okay. That's probably all I've got to say about that one, to be honest with you. What a guy.
I'm going to go with option A, Dale. It was a way to hide the terrible roster because that is the worst Royal Rumble of all time. It is the shortest Royal Rumble. Actually, second worst Royal Rumble of all time. Alberto Del Rio did win one.
That was still a good Rumble.
Goddamn Davey should have won.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He did.
Well, he technically did.
He did.
He was shafted.
And then later on, they brought the both feet rule in. It used to be like 1 foot touches the floor, you're out.
Yeah.
And one of ATK's feet touched the floor, and they changed it to both feet.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yep. Absolute bull. Right. But Simon, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Andy touched on a good thing. It's like, it's crazy, isn't it? That you kind of, you see Logan Paul and you still think like celebrity wrestler, but he's had like more than a dozen matches now.
He's full time.
I've said before, I mean, I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy at all. Some of the stuff he's done.
No one does.
Wrestling wise, I think he's the best celebrity wrestler we've ever had. Coming in full time now after he's been around a couple of years, starting to lose its novelty a little bit. So I think it's going to be a great match. AJ's the right guy to get that match. It's a little predictable to me. There's not a lot of depth to the story, but it should be a really good match.
Sadly to say, my thought was when I seen the build-up, it's not really being a build-up, but the way they set that match up was very AEW-ish.
Yes.
I don't like you, you don't like me, let's fight.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Or in this case, it was you're old, I'm not. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're old,
To be
Dom.
fair, I couldn't think of a better match for AJ at this stage of his career.
Short of Dom, not on the roster they've got at the moment.
No, I thought it was a great. It's a good matchup. I think it's very AEW-ish in that way of it's going to be a great match. It's a good matchup.
It's been shoehorned together.
Yeah, but it was just kind of like two people picking up wrestling figures type.
It is literally like a tombola, and they've just drawn numbers. I'm kind of looking forward to it myself because I do enjoy Logan's matches. If you look at his record at WrestleMania, each of those matches have been thoroughly entertaining. We were lucky enough to be there for 2 of them.
Yeah.
Well, for both of them, should I say? AJ, as both of you said, the man is class. He's arguably the best wrestler of his generation. He never messes up, and when he does mess up, he injures himself. Rather than his opponent. I think he'll get the best possible match out of Logan. I think he'll hide the negatives of Logan Paul and accentuate the positives, which is always a good thing. Looking forward to it. What night do you think it's going to be on, lads?
Hopefully night 1.
I think with Logan Paul, it's got to be night 1. I think the way that he is, as much as I don't like him as a person, as you know, I think he's an half-decent wrestler. I'm with you, Nick. I'm looking forward to the actual match, but I'd say my criticism more the build-up, as we said. But I think if you've got a Logan Paul who brings Logan Paul eyes on it, which is not a normal, just a wrestling eyes, it make more sense to put him on night 1 to try and get people to push him for night 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, right. Next match, lads. Now, my brother, thank God there's no fireplace involved in this match. Otherwise, no. But it's Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, I am going to go first. I think this is a night 2. I think this is a night 2 match. I think this is in the cool down spot between the first and third matches.
Okay.
And I think Naomi is going to be the best person they could have picked outside of Bianca to get a really good match for Jade at WrestleMania. Because I'm assuming the reason they put Naomi in this position is because Bianca did not want to turn heel. So Naomi was willing to do it. Naomi is a very safe pair of hands. She's very good at her job. And Jade is a rising star that needs to be pushed. And having her step over Naomi is good enough start for me.
Yeah.
Si?
I'm going to moan, but I'm going to moan because it's not what I wanted to see. Right?
Okay.
To me, Jade, she's had a couple of tag title reigns. Yeah, she's had a feature storyline. She's botched a couple of times. She's had a few really good matches. I think she is physically the only woman that is up there with Charlotte Flair on the roster. And I wanted to see Jade against Charlotte. Charlotte and Tiffany, people say, oh, if you do that, what could you do with Tiffany? Tiffany could have fought Trish. That would have been a better match. But it's one of them, isn't it? It is what it is. It's what we've got. The storyline has been good. There's been a lot of confusion on X this week about why exactly Bianca's been booed. A lot of people have not liked that during the European tour. When people saying, oh, European crowds are racist, or European crowds don't like Bianca, or no, it's because Rhea's so super over. But we'll get to that later. I think it would be a good match. It's good to see the women get a singles match without a title involved at WrestleMania, which we haven't had for 18 years or something crazy.
Yep.
I'm not sure what the stat is.
So, Andy?
Yeah, I think it'll be a good match. I think, time out for Jade's probably going to do it well because I don't think she was doing as great as what it probably should have been in the first part of her run. And one thing that I do like about this match is it has a story. There is a build there. There is something at stake. There's kind of, there's a bit of history, which is nice to see. As I said, it's nice to see that for the women outside of the title picture, which is great to see. And sorry to say, but there was a match last at WrestleMania 39 that didn't involve the title, which was the Becky Lynch and Lita and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control.
Yeah, I said the first singles match. The first singles.
My bad.
Yeah. I think I did. Sorry if I
You
didn't.
did.
Yeah, my bad. I just hear women. So which, I don't know if that says a lot. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm happy with I'm happy that it's got a build and all that type of thing. So yeah, that's all you can ask for, really.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all we can do. Right, next match, because we've got a few to go through. Right, is the Women's Tag Team Championship. Raquel and Liv defending against the winners of the Gauntlet match on SmackDown this Friday.
Please let me go first.
Go for it, Andy.
It has to be Secret Purvis, and they have to win because they are one of the best things on SmackDown at the moment. I absolutely adore them.
Well, I'm in complete agreement with you. I think giving them those titles to put them alongside Chelsea's US title would be fantastic. It'd be a great apology to Alba for firing her tag team partner. And it'd be good for Piper. Piper needs something. They're hilarious.
It's not even the fact that they need it; they're just so good. So,
yeah. Simon,
I mean, you know what I think about these belts. I just, I mean, it is what it is. I've got very low expectations, so I might be pleasantly surprised. It is what it is.
Right, well,
sorry,
honestly, I think this match is going to be trash, regardless of who they put in it, because it's an unpopular opinion. Liv Morgan can't wrestle. She's not been able to wrestle since she started. She's still got no timing. She screws up consistently. She's never in the right place at the right time. She botches repeatedly in matches. But she hasn't got good enough, mate. They have fired girls like Alba Fire's former tag team partner, Isla Dawn, who is twice the wrestler and the character and the talker that Liv Morgan is.
No, bell to bell, maybe. But
I think you may be over-hating on Liv. I think Liv's character, the storyline, the fan connection she's got is really good.
No, my argument isn't any of that.
I'd put her above girls like Alexa.
Yeah, but I don't think Alexa can wrestle either.
Fair. Well, she's got everything else, so...
That's fair enough. And I can't stand Bakel Rodriguez.
Dale's put them winning the tag belts would be equal to the awesomeness of JLBL's cabinet. Yes, my friend. Yes.
To be fair, we need a really good, gauntlet or scramble, whatever you want to call it, and a good tag title match, because these belts have just...
Yeah, and I think putting it on Piper and thing, Alba will probably give that. You know what I mean? It's to play with the Chelsea storyline and that. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Well, with any luck. Now, I'm going to move on because... Oh, what night do you think is going to be on, lads? I'm going for night one.
Hopefully night one.
I think that's a night one match. Right, next, US Championship. LA Knight.
Yeah.
Versus Jacob Fatu.
Oh.
Now, I am very excited for this match because Jacob's getting his belt. Right, I'm sorry. I love LA Knight, but there ain't snowball's chance in hell that boy's walking out of WrestleMania with that title wrestling Jacob Fatu. It ain't happening. Jacob's getting his title. Jacob's getting the run that's going to lead him to becoming a contender for the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship, depending on which way they go. And I'm super excited for this. I think LA Knight's going to have a banger match with him. I think Jacob's going to murder screw him in the end. I can't wait for this. Simon, what do you think?
You know how I feel about Jacob. I'm a big LA Knight fan as well. I still don't really understand the 1-2 with Nakamura, but maybe it was just so Shinsuke could take.
No. I know what happened with Nakamura. Road Dogg got turned head writer, walked up to Shinsuke, and went, Shinsuke, I've got a great idea. Samurai.
And that was it.
That was it.
That makes sense.
I think the big thing, the whole thing with Nakamura winning the title so that he could go and defend it in Japan, wasn't it? Let's face it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's like LA Knight had built up a little bit of momentum. He'd had defenses against like Santos and Andrade and Mello, and it made the belt mean something. And then for Shinsuke to hold it, and I love Shinsuke, don't get me wrong, but he's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
they are. He's right. He's one of my favorites to watch, but for him to hold the belt again for like 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was, and defend it like once, it just took away everything that LA Knight had worked so hard to give it. So now he's been defending it week after week on SmackDown again, and we get a match that means something. And I've read so much online about people saying, "Oh, Jacob doesn't deserve this title shot. He's only had 5 singles matches." What? Are they watching what I'm watching? Because I cannot, straight up, and I've been watching wrestling for 45 years, right? And I cannot remember somebody coming in who's meant to be like a backup guy, an extra, that has been that good and risen up to a card where they get a Mania match on their debut year where they're probably going to win a title belt. I can't remember that happening. And it's happening to Jacob. That's how good he is.
Yeah. And it's very
it's the same. It's the same thing that's happened with Ricky Saints in NXT. You can't deny. You can't deny talent. When people are good, you push them in that position.
You missed the point. I think Ricky was signed, and they knew he was going to be at the level they're pushing him at. Whereas I don't think they knew how good Jacob could be when they signed him.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think they had. I do not think they knew what they were in for when they hired Jacob.
No. It was probably originally meant to be Solo's match. I mean, that's just me speculating, but
I would agree.
It'll do him the world of good getting that belt. It'll be great.
Well, Dale says here. There we go. Might be a sleeper match of the night. I agree. Jacob is in for a Gunther-like reign. I hope so. I think he should have that US title for at least a year and should defend it consistently at every pay-per-view and whenever he can on television because he's more than capable of doing it. Jacob's character and his demeanor as a character presents him as this unstoppable badass. Andy, what do you think?
So, first of all, I'd just like to acknowledge the fact that there was only 2 years ago when we were in LA that we were all talking about how it was criminal that LA Knight wasn't on the card at all. And the fact that he's got to walk into his championship shows that he's really progressed over the last 2 years, which is great stuff.
Very true.
That's good. I do think Jacob wins this. One thing straight away with me is, you know what I'm like with terms of what can you do with somebody. And it's like, marketable wise, he's very, very good. I think, if you look at storylines, is one thing I was negative with Cody is after he won the title is like, I don't think they had them ready-made feuds for him. It got better over time, but at first it was kind of the same rinse and repeat with him, which I didn't think the first 6 months of his title reign was very good. With Jacob, you've got Solo, you've got Roman. There's already through my head, I'm looking at his first 6 months of title reigns where it's like banger after banger. It's like sometimes putting a belt on somebody makes sense, and this time I feel like it makes sense. It'll elevate the title and it'll elevate him. I'm really excited with that one.
Well, to quote Jake Roberts, titles make stars, and this time the star's going to make the title.
No, not necessarily. I think it's a bit of both. I think that one's kind of a mutual benefit. I think it'll upgrade the US title from where it's been because of the spot. Also, it gives the belt gives the storyline with that as well. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, there's a storyline straight away with Roman. The fact that Jacob's the champion and Roman's not. You know what I mean? They've got that. Obviously, there's still that dissension with Solo that you can go to. There's a lot of different ways you could go with that. And, obviously, you had Umaga who had the mid-card title, who Jacob's very similar to. There's a bit of history there. There's a lot of different things you can do with that. And I'm just excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I as well.
You mentioned Umaga. And weirdly, I see Jacob as like, he's got a little bit of Umaga, only he's not as big. Right, he's not as big.
Yeah,
he's got a little bit of the viciousness of like Haku, right, with a bit of Samoan gangster in there, with a little bit of Rikishi in there, and it's all mixed together. And he's made it his own thing. And for them to push him against a guy who's probably like 100, 150 pounds heavier than him, against Strowman, former world champion, and dominate him like he has, it's like, when did we see the last guy come in that was just meant to be a backup guy and get that kind of push? It's just so refreshing.
I'm saying it's great, and it's well deserved as well. One thing that just on a side note on Strowman. So I was at obviously the recent SmackDown in London, and I think Strowman's walking a very tightrope So Fatu come out. There was a bit of booze. There was some cheers. There was, it was a bit of a mixed bag, but in a good way. People done stuff. LA Knight come out, biggest pop, probably one of the biggest ones of the night. Wow. Strowman come out, nada, no booze,
Fire
no
him,
cheers.
Dale.
There was nothing. There was nothing, and I was kind of like, "Whoa, how did you get to this point where like nobody reacted to anything?" His entrance, the lot, it was just kind of like people were
Melancholy.
talking to each other. Yeah, it was like, and to me, for a wrestler, that's a dangerous position to be in, where it's like nobody boos him, nobody cheers him. But then I look at his character now; he's being booked, and it's like, well, he's being booked in that way, isn't it? He's not really being booked as anything.
Apathy.
But
It's the enemy of all entertainers.
Yeah, and it's like, ooh, so yeah, it was just something that I noticed when I was at SmackDown. To be honest, the only one who got a similar similar reaction was Mia or Michin, whatever they call her nowadays. It was the same. She walked out and it was just dead. There was nothing. And considering the crowd was quite hot and they were kind of, jumping for everyone, yeah, she was another one who kind of just didn't get anything. Like, it was kind of like, oh, we'll just go to the toilet at this point, or we'll have a chat with the person next to us. There was no kind of reaction whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on. Next match, lads. The just the Women's World Heavyweight Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Bianca Belair, Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair, and now Rhea Ripley.
Mm.
What do you think of the build, Andy?
So, the philosophy of the build and the actual idea was good. The execution's been shite. So, the dream catcher, yeah. That's me dad's that, I'll have you know, Dale.
Huh?
My dad's dream catcher. He likes wolves, mate. He doesn't like dream catcher, he likes wolves. So,
Wolves cool.
Yeah. And most of Americans. I don't like any Americans, including you jerk. That's another matter.
Yeah, he's a New Yorker. You're not supposed to like him.
Yeah. What do they call New York? The bottom of the toilet of New York, of America. Oh, saying that though, he's on Long Island, isn't he? So isn't that the turd in the toilet bowl?
No, Long Island would be the U-bend.
Oh, right, okay. Right. Either way, still part of the toilet.
Can I just take a second to apologise about our hundreds of viewers in Long Island? We do apologise.
Yeah. I'm a natural heel.
Hundreds.
You are? Natural
100%. 100%, though.
Yeah, all Americans natural traitors.
Goddamn colonials.
Just with that one, it's like, as I said, I think the build was there. It was all there for it. I think some of the bits that you've done in terms of the whole Bianca and Rhea kind of not acknowledging Rio is really good. I felt that was pretty good, but for me, it was kind of like the way Adam Pearce was just like, oh, it's a match. I would like to see them brawl and go, all right, if you can't get on, we're going to put it in a freeway. I would like that. Or if Io would have had enough and said, you just keep disrespecting me, well, guess what? I'm not bothered about either of you. I'll fight you both. Something like that would have been a bit better, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it was kind of all set up and ready for that. And then it was just the way they'd done it on Raw. I was just kind of like, oh, mate, you shit the bed there.
Well, unfortunately, Adam Pearce is the inferior general manager. Out of the two, Aldous is much better at his job in a kayfabe sense of things.
Well, we're gonna get to Nicholas shortly because I want to talk about Nicholas.
It's crazy because I think Raw is the better show, but I think you're quite right.
Mm-hmm.
See, I like Scrap Daddy. I think he's really good. It's just
I do, but from his character standpoint, he just gets bullied into things, like consistently bullied into things.
I think the difference between him and Nick Aldis is like he does get bullied into things, but I think it's kind of like that trying to keep your employees happy type of deal. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just a different character dynamic where Scrap Daddy is more of an official guy. Obviously, his catchphrase is "it's official." You know what I mean? So he's sitting there getting sick notes off people, getting frustrated, and then he's like thingy. So I think he does go for the whole. The whole like keeping his employees happy type deal, but I think in this one we just got it wrong with this one.
I agree. I, on the other hand, am really looking forward to this match. I think this is possibly going to be match of the night on whatever night it happens to be on. I think this is going to be night 2 because I don't see them putting both triple threats on night 1.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
Just a side note for the whole story to rescue this whole angle and everything else is Rio's got to win.
Did you say Io or Rhea?
Hello,
Io, sorry.
my co-host.
Hey, Drip King.
Jimmy, please clarify something for us. Do you actually have action figures of yourself for sale?
Oh, I want to buy one of those Drip King figures. They look
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, yeah.
Seriously, are they real? Because we
in the
want,
bubble. Yeah.
we want them.
Yes, we do. I need one.
Right, yeah, but sorry, back to the match. Yeah, everybody seems to think that Io Sky is retaining that title.
I think she needs to.
Not. Oh, do you want an interesting statistic, lads, about this match?
Go.
This is Rhea Ripley's 6th WrestleMania appearance in a row. It is also her 6th title match in a row.
Yeah.
At WrestleMania?
At WrestleMania.
I think for me, the whole story
Wow.
here is Bianca and Ripley knocking a wealth away from disrespecting Io, not taking it seriously and stuff. And I think for the story to work, she's got to overcome it in the end. Do you know what I mean?
Jim, that's really disappointing. Get some action figures. We wanted to buy them. Like, don't use AI. It's going to take over the world. We've all seen Terminator. It doesn't end well.
Already has it. It's just fooled you.
Sarah Connor told us this. I don't get why people.
I know. Right? We've all seen Terminator. It doesn't end well.
Apart from on a Friday afternoon in work when something needs doing and I can't be bothered thinking, like that's when it's actually acceptable.
You get to the point and call me paranoid. I've not even smoked anything today, but how do you know? You get to a certain age and there's all this AI stuff. How do I know you two guys are actually you two guys? Right?
Well, we were talking in person the other day.
It might not be real.
Afternoon. Yeah, but we were talking in person this afternoon, so I'm real. Andy, probably not. I think he's a robot.
If I was a robot, then I wouldn't have such a saggy stomach, would I? Let's face it.
No. That's to ebb human behavior.
Maybe.
Anyway, back to the guy. So this is Rhea's 6th WrestleMania appearance in a row. It's her 6th title match in a row. She's more over than she was in any of those matches. Rhea Ripley is walking out with the Women's World Championship. And she's going to pin Bianca Belair.
Completely agree.
Thank you.
Has any woman done that before? 6 Mania title matches in a row?
I don't think so. I don't even think Charlotte's done it.
That's pretty cool.
It shows how much faith that they have in that the company has in Rhea Ripley. That even Vince had in Rhea Ripley. Yeah. Because Rhea's first WrestleMania was the Pandemic, where she defended the NXT title against Charlotte Flair when she still had the blonde hair and she dressed like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And now, 6 years later, and she's on arguably the women's main event of the second night. Because, like I say, this has got to be a second night match. There's only 2 triple threat matches at Mania. They're not going to put them on both the same night.
No, but also I think Rhea's the star for number 2 as well. I think Charlotte seems to think she's still the main event when she's not, but Rhea's definitely night 2 worthy.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. But who do you think is going to win, lads? And do you agree it's a night 2 match?
For me, it's got to be Rhea.
Yeah. I
completely agree. Because like you say about the triple threat, it's definitely a night 2 match.
I think for me is I like Rhea and I'd love Rhea to be champion again, crack on with it and all that. But I think from the story that they've told, it's got to be to finish that story the way that it should be finished.
Okay. Well, yeah, to be fair, because she's never beaten Io, so that makes sense. But I have an interesting theory or idea about this year's WrestleMania. Because there's more multi-man matches on this year's WrestleMania than there have been in quite a few years.
Yeah.
This is WrestleMania 16. All the heels are going to win. All the heels are going to win. Rhea is being positioned as the heel in that triple threat, even though everybody's cheering her. She's supposed to be the bad guy. She's the one who's muscled away into the match, and she wasn't supposed to be it. Rhea's going to win. And coming on to the next match, I should tell you who I think is going to win this. What I'm assuming is now going to be the opening match of night 1. Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Mr. Jey Uso.
Yeah. May I speak on this?
Yes, you may.
I said to you, it was earlier today, wasn't it? I was like,
Yes.
right, the things I like about Jay, as a long-term fan, it reminds me a lot of Bret Hart in October 92. The merch, the gear, the vibe, the connection with the fans, it's all there. The difference is he hasn't got that in-ring ability. I don't think... I mean, the build-up has been great. A lot of people criticize why we're getting Jay versus Gunther like 3 times and stuff like that, but they made it make sense because now he's not afraid of him anymore. And that was a great line. But I don't think for a second that Jay is going to take that belt. I think you made a good point before, Nick, off air, that I'm going to steal it off you now. And I think that Gunther is absolutely going to destroy him. Because to me, there's so many potential matches with Gunther afterwards. You know, you've got a potential feud with Punk. You've got a potential feud with Dragunov coming back. He's not even started. There's a long way. Yeah. And you look at Gunther's title reigns, and this is shorter than all the others have been. So it's not time yet.
No, well, to flesh out the idea, Andy, do you remember SummerSlam 2016?
Yes.
Do you remember Brock Lesnar versus John Cena from that card?
I do.
Yes. Do you remember what happened in that match?
Was that when he just hammered him?
Yes, it was. That is when Brock Lesnar proceeded to give 17 German suplexes to John Cena in a row and 5 F5s. Well, yeah. I think Gunther's going to do that to Jey Uso. I think Jay's going to come out like an absolute house on fire, and then Gunther is going to systematically destroy him. It's going to start with him chopping Jay out of midair, and then it's not going to stop until Jay passes out in the choke.
Yeah.
Jay's going to look valiant in defeat. He's going to look like he earned that title match, but Jey Uso is a chaser. He is not a champion.
So I disagree with both of you. I love Gunther, as you both know. I absolutely adore Gunther. He's my favourite, as we've known for a long time. I'm made up with that. He got a championship reign. The problem I've got with it is unfortunately WWE like moments, especially at WrestleMania. We had last year with Cody with the big championship win, yada, yada, yada. I think the problem we've got with Gunther is I think Cena's going to win, potentially, which will set up, as we get that thing. But, Jey Uso with the belt on the ropes with the big bouncing, yeet crap going on and then the merchandise that they will sell to young kiddies after that fact is what will get him over the line. Okay.
But to counter that point, he's already selling that merchandise.
He is, but one thing is they love to go back to these iconic moments and things. As I say, they like to show them time and time again, get all the YouTube views and everything else. And
yes. But bit of a trend in WWE is one of the championship contenders at WrestleMania always loses and then always wins at Backlash.
Nah, don't see it with the title. I think if they're going to do it, I think the problem you've got with it is if this was the first time them two were coming together, yeah. But I feel like the fact that Gunther's already beat Jay, and we're going into this one now, I feel like you'd have a hard sell doing it again without Jay winning. And then, you might even get the fact that Jay might win at Mania and then Gunther might take it back at Backlash. That might be the way they do it. But I just don't see Gunther beating him twice in a row dominantly and then them going back to it again.
Okay.
I'm 100% with your logic, Andy. I am. It makes perfect sense. I just hope you're wrong.
So do I, to be honest with you, Si. So do I, mate. I love Gunther and I'd love to see him have that long title reign like he did. But
the question you ask is I did this with Nakamura, to be fair, and it wasn't right that year. But why give Jey Uso the Rumble win if you're not going to give him the belt?
I think it's more prominent, though, with Jay. The fact is, why give Jay a Rumble win after he's just lost to Gunther if you're not going to do that title belt change, is what probably my thinking is. You wouldn't let him get beat by Gunther and then come back and win a Rumble and then go and lose again. It just doesn't.
Sometimes that's how it works, though. I mean, right, just to go off topic a little bit and tread on another match.
Go for it.
So this week we had Dom against Penta on Raw, and who won that match?
Yeah, but when you're going into a fatal 4-way, I think it's a bit different, and I think it's like it's a bit less personal.
Let me follow through. Right. Let's say that Dom wins the belt at WrestleMania,
which he should.
Well, he is.
We will get to in a little bit, but let's say that Dom wins the belt at WrestleMania. Penta's just beaten him the week before, so they're planning ahead with stuff like this, and I think the same thing kind of applies to Jay and Gunther.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's, I think Jimmy's got a point there. The Rumble was the final piece of Jay's plan to the main event. No way he's losing. Yeah, I don't see it. I think that, I just feel like that critical part is he fought Gunther not long ago. So why would you do all this just to have him lose again? It doesn't make sense, really. There was a lot more matches you could have done with Gunther if you wanted to go down that route.
Well, I believe, to go with Dale's question, yes. And I specifically think that Gunther versus Jey Uso is to set up next year's match where Jey will win. At WrestleMania, where the Bloodline will take center stage for the entire show, because Jacob will be celebrating his 1-year reign as the US champion. The Rock will be wrestling Roman Reigns in his final match in the main event of WrestleMania, and Jey Uso will win the World Heavyweight Championship for the first time. It's going to happen next year, not this year.
Right, man, this is a pretty bold prediction, because are you saying that Jay's going to win next year's Rumble as well?
No.
Then he's going to win the Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
I mean, you could make him suffer through that year. I think he needs to do a bit better than what he did with Cody.
That's exactly my point. They did it with Cody and it worked.
I think that it's a different, though. I think Jay's got the momentum now. I don't think he can hold it like Cody did. I think that's the problem you're going to have with that. I mean,
but that's no. But that's the test. Because if Jay can't hold that momentum now, when he's at the hottest point in his career, then he can't hold the title and hold that momentum either. And the whole reign will crash. No, just because you've got that belt doesn't give you the magic ability to carry it.
I think also
if you can't carry yourself without the weight of the championship, then you can't carry yourself with the weight of the championship.
I think the same thing that applies to Jacob probably applies to Jay as well. As you could do the Roman match further down the line and give Roman something to do through the year. Because again, that jealousy of Jay getting the title and Roman hasn't got it. You could probably turn Jimmy against him again and have that match again if you really. I mean, I hope you don't, but you could do. There is some more possibilities with Jay with the title again. That makes sense going through into SummerSlam and whatnot. You know what I mean? You could probably have Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam if you really wanted to do that quickly enough. You know what I
mean? Well, I tell you what, Andy. As we'll be watching WrestleMania together, I'll bet you $5.
Okay, I'll take that bet.
That Gunther's going to win.
I'll take that bet.
Sound. Digital handshake.
I'm with this guy. Sorry,
I hope. Do you know what? I'll pay you the $5 to keep the belt on going for me.
Right. Next match, lads, is Barbie versus Stacy. It is Tiffany Stratton defending the WWE Women's Championship against the Queen.
Can I just say it's not? It's Barbie versus Bin Bag. Thank you.
You know what? I'm going to let the anti-Charlotte faction go first. Andy?
It is just unbelievable. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Tiffy's the next coming and she's going to lead the division for years. But I think Charlotte Flair is as arrogant and as a knobhead as her dad is. I think it's just in the DNA to be a knobhead. And I think they believe their own hype in the terms of they just believe their own shit. And there was like Charlotte's gone into a thing for herself.
If I may, like it or don't like it, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today. Until someone comes along that is an all-round better package than Charlotte Flair,
Charlotte Flair is not an all-round package. She is not an all-round package. She is great belt to belt. I will give her that. But
she's got buckets of charisma.
Andy, you say things like this about Cody, and it's almost like you have maybe a little bit of an issue with these.
No, you know what? I will hold my hands up. Cody is being brilliant, right? I think with Cody, I never had a problem with Cody himself. I had a problem with the way that they booked him. right? I think that's probably the difference with
Okay.
Cody. And I think he's done well in the last
at the
6
core
months.
of Charlotte's problem with you
hang on.
is the
Let
booking.
me speak. Let me speak. No. So with Cody, Cody's humble and all the rest of it. Yeah, he is. And he does a good job and he'll do what's right. Charlotte Flair has proved time and time again, when you take her out the title picture, she's crap. She can't do it. She's crap. She flounders
Yeah,
in
but
the mix.
you can say the same about Bret Hart. That doesn't mean he wasn't the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
But you couldn't, though, because Bret Hart was still great to intercontinental level, all the rest of it.
Okay,
You know
no. That's
but,
champion.
Let me finish, right? But with Charlotte, I don't think she does well. She believes her own crap. Yeah. The way she won the Rumble was, again, fair dues booking wise. But if you look at it in them promos, because she didn't like what was getting said, she started getting annoyed and there was debating back and forth. We don't know what was real and what wasn't. And hopefully it was, it was all kind of signed off. But as I say, I just don't think that she's it's evolving and she's getting left behind a little bit now. Do you know what I mean? Because it's rinse and repeat. We've still got the same Charlotte Flair character we've always has done. She doesn't show any kind of character arc or anything like that where she can go different. She doesn't ever do well as a babyface, even when they try to push it as a babyface, it never works. Do you know what I mean? And as I say, apart from if she's outside the title picture, she doesn't do well ever. And one thing I'd say is on the flip side of it, Bianca Belair is one that I was interested to see is how she done outside the title picture. Bianca Belair has done well, still keeps the same character.
Bianca Belair hasn't had a sniff of a world championship in 2 years.
Yeah, and she's done well while she's been doing it, mate. Charlotte Flair's never been outside the title picture for more than a couple of months when she's been there.
Yeah, but that's because she's always in the title picture. Because there's usually no better choice for an opponent than to have her in the title picture.
You're telling me right now for WrestleMania.
No, hang on. The fact is, Charlotte gets better matches out of her opponents than anyone else on that roster. That's why she's in this match, because Tiffany cannot be trusted with a less safe pair of hands to have a good match. The little gymnast with fake tits botches all the time. She makes mistakes consistently. She's not a good wrestler. She's not ready to be on the main TV. She should still be on NXT, and they should have moved someone like Fallon Henley or Sol Rucker up. Or Cora Jade, or Jordan Grace when they signed her in the first place, or Stephanie Vaquer, or Julia. There are many, many names ahead of Tiffany Stratton in that pecking order. Yet she was moved up because somebody backstage got a hard on.
I 100% agree with everything you've just said. However, Tiffany is over. She's super over. Whether it's from the horny 13-year-olds or whether it's from wrestling fans our age, it doesn't matter. She's over. But they still made a clusterfuck of the whole match, and they went into it with Charlotte as the face, Tiffany as the heel. That was never going to work. Now, you could say, right, that Charlotte has failed as a face, but then has Charlotte failed as a face because Tiffany failed as a heel? I'll put that to you.
Yeah, you could say that. And as I say, I'm not trying to say that Tiffany's
fair argument,
big awesome thing here, mate. I'm just saying I think Charlotte Flair gets far too many flowers for what she actually does.
She's the best of a generation, right? You take away the Flair name. If you didn't know who she was, you didn't know she was Ric Flair's daughter, which is why, by the way, they do things like this with Bron Breakker, right? Because they don't want that generational pressure and those expectations put upon them. But you look at Charlotte, take away the name, right? She has been a fantastic in-ring wrestler. Yes, she's a natural heel. Yes, she fails as a face. Yes, she's not perfect. But she's... I don't even like the girl, but she's the best the division's had for a decade.
Maybe.
Like Jimmy says here, that these days, Rhea and Bianca clear Charlotte. Yeah, they do now. But guess what? They're on a different show.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'd say is, like, I think in ring, say you're right. In ring, I've got no qualms with that at all. But, character work, everything else, I think, even Liv Morgan's better than her in that sense.
But is that because she's been on and off TV so much?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
We're going around in circles now.
Yeah, but maybe, yeah, you could be right there. But I just don't think she has that connection with a crowd that a lot of the others have, like Becky, Liv, Bianca. I don't think she has that.
Yeah, but the problem for me is Charlotte's never had that moment. Becky got hers. When Nia Jax broke Becky's face, that
okay,
was
yeah, fair
Becky's
dues, but then
moment.
she capitalised from that, mate. You know, Charlotte's had
No,
plenty of
that's
moments.
my point. That's my point. Charlotte's never had that moment to capitalize on and forge a connection.
So what
with
is
fans
Bianca
because
had
she's
then?
a nepo baby.
So what's Bianca had? Bianca had that she hasn't.
I hate that term. Sorry.
Yeah, but she is. It's
But
nepotism.
what's Bianca had? That moment. Where's Liv had that moment?
Liv's terrible. So, and not
I'm
even
talking,
on that level.
Take away the whole ring stuff, Nick. I'm talking entertainment wise. Entertainment, connection with a crowd. Where of them two, then people had that connection with or Chelsea Green's another one. Where's Chelsea had that
Well,
moment?
in the case of Bianca Belair, she had an entire TV series built around her and her husband designed to build a connection with an audience.
After she'd already connected with the audience, by the way. Don't use that. That was well after.
No, you asked. I
I'm
answered.
not buying that.
Allow me to flip this, right? You're saying when has she had the connection? When has Charlotte not had the connection? Because you're saying like she's a natural heel, she's always a heel, and you dislike her. You borderline hate her, so she's obviously good at her job.
No, I don't think it's that thing with it, mate. I just think that she's very, very overrated from a whole package point of view.
Overrated.
Ring wise, she's very, very good, mate. I'm not gonna lie whatsoever, right? But the whole thing is like from a connection point of view in the total package, I believe there's about 5, 6, 7 maybe better than her.
Yeah, but the girl's a star, mate, and you can't take that away from her. She carries herself like a star. She carries herself like a champion because she was bred to be one.
Despite the fact that she's lost a lot of weight, and I'm not going to get into why, because there could be all sorts of reasons. Despite the fact that for the first time in her life, she doesn't look like a horse.
Yeah, can we just bring up Jimmy's comment there, please? Because it's a great comment.
Yep. Charlotte being off TV should help her because people should have to miss her, and they don't because they see through her. Fair enough.
So if she's this big of a star, right? Triple H Royal Rumble return, John Cena Royal Rumble return. Where was Charlotte's big moment like that when she returned? No one
she got a massive pop at the Rumble. Yeah. We watched it. She got a huge pop, dude. The only one that got a louder reaction than her was Alexa Bliss.
To finish my point, despite not being in the best shape of her life, despite the fact she's looking a little bit on the slim side to be a power wrestler, technical wrestler. Despite her age, she's old for the women's division. Let's be honest, for a regular.
Yeah.
Despite all of that, and despite the camaraderie and everything they put behind The Rock being behind Cena's turn, I still think Charlotte is in an equal, if not better, role than Cena is going into this Mania.
Oh, definitely not, Simon. Let's move on, please.
Right, well, we are going to move on just because I always like to talk about things that you hate, Andy. It makes a change from you doing it to me. Right, we are moving on. Next up is... right, well, we finally got... In fact, there's a couple of matches that aren't on here, so I'm going to run through these really quick as we are running out of time. You have the Deadbeat Dad versus the greatest luchador of all time, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, the man who sounds like a Starbucks order. Who's going to win? What night do you think it's going to be on? We've got to go through these quick because we're nearly out of time.
I don't know what night it's going to be on. I don't know who's going to be win, but it's going to be entertaining. I'll be happy either way. There's been a lot of flack for the gimmick. I've laughed at it. I think it's great.
I think it's fantastic. This is the Conquistadors, but now.
I've seen some comments with stupid stuff like, why is Gable in Mania when Sami Zayn isn't, when Sheamus isn't? Because he deserves it.
And Sami Zayn is selling a beating.
Week after week on Raw.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 is Chad Gable. He deserves this match. You think about how good SummerSlam 2002, how good was Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle? Because if we get anywhere near that level, it's going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah.
Except this time the roles are reversed and Rey is the older one.
Andy, do you like Rey Mysterio?
Yes, I don't mind him. I think he's stuck around a bit too long, but I think he's earned his flowers and should be able to do that.
He wasn't a Nepo baby when he started, then?
No.
Interesting.
Right. Right. After that, we have the Andy. I'm going to come to you with this one quickly. Intercontinental 4-way. Braun Breaker defending against Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Penta.
Awesome. One thing with Braun is I didn't like him at first. I do now.
He's getting better.
Good booking.
He's getting a lot better.
He's getting a lot better, but good booking as well. Fatal 4-ways sometimes are lashed together. I think like the way they've built this up over the past 6 or 7 weeks on Raw has been really, really good, and I'm really looking forward to the match. If Dominic Mysterio doesn't win the match, that would be an absolute disgrace.
I completely agree. Just on a side note, guys, did everyone see that spear that he hit Carlito with on Raw?
Did you see what Carlito tweeted?
My God!
Did you see what Carlito tweeted?
No.
Oh, I'm going to read it out to you. Let me just find it. It's absolute class.
Oh, brilliant. Right, well, while you're doing that, I'll quickly move on and we'll come back to this in a minute. Okay, we are getting to what I believe is going to be the two strongest matches on the nights, which is the main events, which should be the strongest matches. So we get to the main event at night one first. We have...
Right, I've got this here. Sorry, I'll read it out for you. So thank you everyone for your thoughts and prayers. My funeral service is scheduled for this Friday. My family asked for privacy during this painful time. Muchas gracias. hashtag spear, hashtag broken in half.
Just everything about it, the camera angle. It was almost like he was like Superman, wasn't he?
Yeah. Came out
straight up. I mean, Ed, good spear.
Speed
Goldberg,
that he got up to going down that ramp.
Roman at times, good spear, but that's the best spear I've seen in my life.
Just to go back, Jimmy says Ray is an Nepo baby. He's a posh wannabe Hugh Papa who kidnapped Eddie's kid. So, in essence, what Jimmy's trying to say is basically Rey Mysterio was a cuckold.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
That's not what he's
Pappy. It is. You like Pappy. That was all we could say. Right, we are moving on to what I think is going to be, like I say, the two strongest matches on the card, which is the main events. First night main event is our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, versus the straight edge savior, CM Punk, and the modern day Randy Savage, Seth freaking Rollins.
Sorry, just before we do go on to that, Rey Mysterio is a cornundo. Let's get it right, which is Spanish for cuckold. So, just that nice. Google's a wonderful thing.
So, who's going to win the triple threat, lads?
Can I go on this, Andy? Do you mind?
Of course you can.
I got two main theories about this, right? And they're totally different. But one thing I think we could see is CM Punk winning the match and getting added to the main event on night 2. The other thing I think is possible we could see, with the whole storyline being like Roman, Punk, who's Heyman with. Look back at the promo we had this week with Seth and Paul, right? No one is expecting Seth to be the new Heyman guy.
Ooh, we like it.
So the Punk Roman feud would continue, and Seth would be the new Heyman guy and potentially go after Cody.
Yeah, and he also hates Punk and Roman, so by taking Heyman, he's killed the both of them.
Yeah.
Me likey.
It's going to be a banger either way, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, it works as well because, like I said to you on the phone earlier on, Si, Heyman screws all of his clients,
one after another. Go through the timeline.
Okay, so we go back to CM Punk. Paul Heyman screws CM Punk for Curtis Axel and smashes Punk around the head with a kendo stick. He then screws Curtis Axel and Ryback for Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar murders the both of them. He then screws over Brock Lesnar for Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He now is screwing over Roman Reigns for CM Punk. He will then screw over CM Punk for Seth Rollins, and we have an endless chain of Paul Heyman screwing people over.
Yeah, and also I think you're very Paul Heymanish with your analogy, Simon. Look at the left hand while I slap you with the right. That is typical Paulie.
It works.
It's exactly. It's a Heyman brainchild. Seth Wright he's been a good face. He's lost a lot of matches. He's entertaining week after week. He deserves more acclaim than he's getting. He deserves more recognition than he's getting at the minute.
He's the MVP of that company.
How do you refresh him? You turn him heel. How do you do that? Like this.
Yeah, and also it's he's got to become more than just a song and get a bit more depth in him. And I think Paul Heyman adds that.
Well, it's not just that, but everybody knows that Seth's body is starting to break down on him. You cannot be the baby face that takes the beatings forever.
You can't, and I think also adding Heyman into that makes more promo than match, which will be a good thing for Seth.
Exactly. Right, and now, lads, final match, where I believe we are going to see a 17th World Championship crowned.
Whoa. Don't you skip over the most important match on the card and one that makes me a very happy Andy.
Do we have to?
Randy Orton versus our SmackDown GM.
So, interestingly enough, I've got an interesting theory or two. Theory number one, okay? And I'm going to get a lot of shit for this. I already have on X. What if Owens isn't really injured? Right? How many times have we seen it? I'm not saying this to insult the guy. If it's a real injury, I feel awful for him because he's given us his life in the ring, and he doesn't deserve it. However, how many times have we seen this swerve, right, over the years, almost to the point where you kind of expect it? From Mark Henry's salmon jacket when he retired, right? And then Kevin Owens comes out in a Bret Hart jacket. Is that not a little bit?
Brian Pillman's broken leg. That ended his career.
Yeah.
So that's theory number one. Okay. Owens isn't really injured. I don't know where they go with that. Could be the Jerry Lawler situation from SummerSlam 93 where Randy has to beat somebody else and then Kevin comes out for a second match.
Can I tell you my theory one just before you go in case you ruin it for me because I've been thinking about this all day. Yeah.
Go on.
So he comes out, right? Nick, he turns around and says, "You hit me. I'd love to wrestle you, but I've had my day. But it just so happens that WrestleMania falls on Rusev Day." Boom. Because it does. WrestleMania falls this year on Rusev Day, as we know.
It does.
It does. I don't know if Rusev Orton is a match you naturally want to see. I don't.
Lads, we've got three.
So
my second theory, real quick. Second theory. Okay, Randy Orton. Okay, we're going to see him this week get a new opponent. That opponent gets taken out. Randy Orton wants a match at Mania. He demands a match at Mania. He deserves a match at Mania. He's not going to get one. Okay, main event night 2, Cena and Cody. Okay, we've just had an interaction between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, reinforcing the 2 decades of friendship. That they have. Yes, right. We get to the point where The Rock's there, Cena's there, Cody's down. Randy comes out. Crowd explodes. Randy's determined to get on this card because he hasn't got a match. What does Randy do? RKO's Cody. He's the third.
I think he punt kicks him.
Randy Orton, John Cena, and The Rock, the new NWO style.
So one thing that does act into as well, and it's something that I've been thinking about, and I don't know where they're going with it, and I'm hoping that it's going to be something. But when The Rock turns up at Bad Blood, it was 3, yeah.
Yes.
When he come in, he went to 2. So we've still got number 1 to come yet. So
yeah,
what that number 1 is, I'm sure we'll probably find out at Mania.
And then I was just going to say, Cody retains, Randy's next.
Yeah.
Because John Cena won 1 match in 6 years. 1 match. And that was just to get in this title shot. Doesn't mean he's going to win the belt. Everyone thinks he is.
We'll get to that match in a minute. First off, I agree with Andy. I think Randy Orton is going to be wrestling Nick Aldis at WrestleMania. Nick Aldis has got 4 matches in his contract. He hasn't had any of them yet.
Yeah, and he deserves it. He bloody deserves it.
Agreed.
He does, but not at
WrestleMania. The thing is, but the thing is, it's not at WrestleMania. It's a punch glass in case of emergency. Because if he is going to wrestle Randy, it's because Kevin is hurt. And they've had to break the glass in case of emergency. Nick Aldis is the perfect opponent for Randy Orton. They work the same pace. There's nobody else in the business that works the same pace as Randy Orton other than Nick Aldis. It's deliberate. It's methodical. They both work the same, not the same style, but the same. They both have the same vision for what professional wrestling should be in a match.
Produce a good match, though.
Peter Williams. Put Peter Williams on as the match producer, and it'll be great.
Methodical. It was a snore fest, and I love both those guys. But if
okay, right. But anyway, that's enough of that. Andy, who do you think's winning, Randy or Mr. Aldis?
Randy.
Yeah, it's Randy. But moving on to the last match before we have to go, it is the main event. It is my boy Cody Rhodes versus the Invisible Man for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Or WWE Championship, sorry. Right. This is obviously main eventing night 2 of WrestleMania, Si, you lucky bugger. Who do you think is going to win and why? Andy?
I think that John Cena wins it. And I think it's going to be down to The Rock. And I think it's also good because it gets Flair out the way.
I really want it. And I'm not saying that because I don't like and appreciate Cody, because Cody's awesome and deserves a long title reign. But John Cena, has won one match in 6 years.
Okay, Jim.
He's got a lot of matches left in him. He doesn't need the belt. The belt doesn't need him.
Excuse me. Screw you, Dale. Screw you, Dale.
It was offensive to me. It wasn't Dale.
Oh, that's not even funny. Just you know what? What's the thing?
Wasn't Dale, it was Chip.
Muted.
Right, I'll finish what I was saying.
Time.
We're now in overtime.
Muted, though.
He's going to start writing things down, holding it up. I can see.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah,
right, because I'm the only one that can pin the comments, and I'm just not going to pin the comments.
John Cena's 3 days older than me. I've been a fan, seen every match way back in OVW. I've got a lot in common with the guy. I think he's motivational. He's aspirational. He's given so much.
Maybe you're muted now.
What he spent the last 6 years giving back to the business, and yes, he'll stick around to the end of the year. We'll have some great matches. There's more dream matches to see, but he doesn't need that belt. And Orton is the next logical challenger for Cody. Who's going to break the record, which technically isn't a record because Flair had 20 or 21, depending on
21.
But who's going to break the record? It'll be Charlotte. Charlotte is going to break Rick's 16 title record in WWE first. Nobody else.
More than likely. Andy, who do you think is going to win and why?
I think Cena. I think he needs to win that championship. I think for the career he's had, I love Cena. Always have done. I think he's been great. He's been Mr. Responsible. In the time when people say that he was booked bad at certain points, he wasn't. He got wrestling through a dark time, kept it going. Take away Cena, what you have. You know what I mean? Would you still have what you've got now? Probably not. So yeah, I think John deserves to win that title and get rid of the other little turds on top.
I don't think it's anything to do with deserving to win a championship. I think it's the only way for the story to make sense. How many times do we complain that wrestlers turn heel just to get nothing for doing it?
Hang on.
They compromise their morals. They compromise everything that made them them, and then they get nothing for it.
But
Cena has to win this.
You are looking at the chapter of the story there. When you look at the whole story is how The Rock wants to get that belt back off Cody. This year, Cena is the challenger, right? Then we might get Randy. Then we might get somebody else until it's The Rock Cody eventually next year. This is just a chapter in the story.
It's not going to be The Rock Cody next year. It's going to be The Rock's Roman next year, and it's going to be The Rock's last match. The Rock's 55, dude.
I hope you're right, but...
Well, so don't be telling me that my bank account's crying already.
They've already swerved us like 4 years in a row with Raw. We do need it now.
When it's advertised, we will go.
I've already got me.
Right, lads. But it has been a pleasure as always, gentlemen. But that's the show. If you like what we do here at the Wrestling Legion, if you enjoy the content we put out, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yes, I accentuate with my hands. Deal with it. All right. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and just give us a follow, give us a like, do whatever you can. It's free. It really helps us out. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm knows we exist. If you particularly like my beautiful face, which Andy says hideous pudding nose is wrong, you can find myself and Jimmy
I said it was
over at Friday Nitro Reviews every Friday night at
Those are great.
Between 3 and 5 o'clock, reviewing old episodes of WCW Monday Nitro. We will be going chronologically through every single episode for the next 4.5 years of our lives. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Nitro,
gents, it is indeed. Simon, I want to say, please enjoy your trip. I hope you have the time of your life and enjoy the second night of WrestleMania. I hope your girlfriend loves it. I've been Nick the Geek. He's been Simon. He's been Andy. And always remember, we are but 3 geeks obsessed with a good show. And our opinion means nothing without yours. In the comments.
Wrestling Legion. We make it make sense.
Nick has a
got no outro, so.